Hello lovers, welcome to the Butterfly Effect podcast hosted by myself, Lauren Amy. This is for those who are ready to take up space, who are living a soft life loudly and are ready to savor the sweetness in each moment. Here we're going to embrace transformation, the beauty of the in-between and the magic of becoming. So pull up a seat and listen in because life is delicious and it's about goddamn time we eat it up. Hello stunners, welcome back to the Butterfly Effect podcast and I hope everyone's doing well. This is going to be a super speedy episode today as I've got to leave to teach a class in probably about 15 minutes. So we're just going to do a little recap because things are shaking up over here and I feel like this podcast is probably going to convey the vibe of what's currently at play. I'm also in a different setting, in a different place. I am currently at Danny's. I'm looking after good old Chippy and I'm hoping he's going to behave for the next 15 minutes and not bark because that will just shake things up even more. But so far, so good. Okay, so last week I told you guys that a plot twist was coming. And I told you that I was at the before. Now I'm in the drawing, okay? The plot twist is happening. It's all at play. It's happening all around me. We're in amongst it and we're just rolling with the punches and writing it as best as we can. I have announced this, hopefully by now, to all my yogis on my newsletter and across social media, hopefully by this point, by the time this episode goes out. So this shouldn't come as too shocking news to anyone. But the plot twist is that I'm not even going to try and dilute it. I'm being kicked out of one of my venues where I teach yoga, which is potentially problematic and somewhat annoying and slightly inconvenient, to say the least. Now, I feel like I'm able to talk about this a lot more level-headed currently. It's been a real process and I want to give a kind of timeline as to what's been happening and an overview as to what's been happening. And I also realize when I say that I've been kicked out, that is true. I am being kicked out, right? But it's not just me. It's all the hirers of that space being kicked out of this gorgeous, beautiful yoga wellness space that is so hard to come by in good old B-Town. And it's such a shame. It is such a shame, but the reason I wanted to clarify that it's not just me being kicked out. So it's nothing personal. It's nothing that I've done. I've been there since 2019. You know, I started my business there, and I've been there since the studio established itself. So it is such a shame. It's a kick in the dick, to be honest. That's exactly how I've been describing it to people around me. And like I said, I don't want to dilute it or diminish it in any way. It's a really shit thing to have happened. But I'm at this point now, I'm seeing the other side of it. I'm moving through it as ground as I can. And there's been so many times this past week where I'm like, wow, I could really freak out right now. I could really just go off the rails. And I said this to a friend. I was like, oof, I could really pop off. I could really go. But fortunately I did not, because I think the entire time there was something in the back of my mind where I was like, okay, cool, all right, this is happening and it's going to be okay. Like, I always knew it was going to be okay. There's a reason I have the word serendipity tattooed on my arm. There's a reason I have the word resilience tattooed on my arm. Those two things have been so prominent this past week, okay? So for those that don't know the full ins and outs of what's gone down, basically, Thursday, 16th, 17th of July, I think it was the 17th of July, I can't remember the exact date, but Thursday, right? I get an email from the venue saying that the management of the venue is being taken over by another company and that all my bookings for my studio slots will need to go through them. That's it. I'm like, okay, cool. I don't really need to take notice of that right now. It's a Thursday. I think it was late in the Thursday. Friday's on my day off. I was like, I will see to that Monday. Does not matter. It's all good, right? So I emailed the new company that's taking over the management of the studio, the bookings of the studio, and I say like, hey, my name's Lauren. I'm a yoga teacher. I hire at the space quite a bit. I've been there for years, and I'd like to maintain my regular slots. Let me know how I go about booking. Super casual, super chill. Didn't think anything was amiss. I then get an email back at 9:30 that Monday evening from this guy saying that they are completely repurposing the studio into a gym. And let me tell you, my heart just dropped. Because also, this studio that I teach at is currently right next to a gym. So make that make sense to me, you know? So I don't know if I immediately responded to that email. I must have responded like the next day, because I never like to react to things. I'm like, okay, cool. I'm in this reactory phase. I'm going to have my initial little freak out, and then I'm going to respond, okay? So I did have my freak out. I I messaged many a friend, and I messaged my dad, like, Pops, help me, just panicking, because I'm like, I had no other information other than it's being transformed into a gym on the 17th of August. And I don't know what that means. Does it mean I can still hire the space? Does it mean I can still teach there? Does it mean I can still have those slots? What does that mean? So I had all these questions. And in this email that the guy had sent to me, it was like, let me know if you're free sometime next week. So he was expecting me to wait a week to find out all these answers. And I'm like, oh, no, buddy boy. We are meeting this week, Thursday, 1:30 o'clock, precisely in the afternoon. I literally laid down the law, and he was like, okay. So anyway, I met with this guy. And yeah, that was probably the most heartbreaking like conversation I've had. There was so many moments where I was trying not to just cry in front of this guy. And you know, he's coming across, I mean, I don't want to say anything bad about this person, but he's typically coming across as like Mr. Nice Guy, you know, we're stuck in the middle of all of this. We didn't know you guys were hiring this space. We wanted to give you more notice. And I'm just like, I just did not believe a word that was coming out of his mouth. And I've since further contacted the venue that I hire from. They have given me conflicting information. So I'm like, I don't know who to believe. At the moment, you are the bad guy in this situation, you know? And he was like, I don't want you to see me as the bad guy. There's potential for collaboration and stuff like that. And I'm like, right now, I'm viewing you as the bad guy. There's no other way around it. So I had this conversation that Thursday afternoon, a couple days later, right? So it's already eating into this month's notice that we're supposed to have had, which is just ridiculous, okay? So that Thursday was messy, stressful. I'm making all the phone calls I possibly can, and I'm teaching my classes also that Thursday as best as I can. And I know for a fact my yogi said something was up, because I was scatty. I was so scatty. My last class that Thursday evening, I was like, hey guys, how we doing? We all fine? We okay? Yeah, everything's going to be fine. Everything's going to be okay. Everything's fine. I'm fine. And my yogis are looking at me like, you are not fine. And bless them, they didn't push, they didn't press, because I didn't know what to do with the information yet. Like I said, I was still in the reactory phase. I needed to get until I was more in the responsive phase. Anyway, after my yogis had left that Thursday night, I had this random vague memory pop into my head, right, of me talking to one of the gorgeous women I work for in the council. She had vaguely mentioned a studio that had popped up somewhere that I know very, very well. And she was like, oh, is it there that you teach? I was like, no, I teach very close to it, blah, blah. She was like, oh, okay, right, I thought it was this guy. I was like, blah, blah. I must have just parked that information in the back of my head somewhere. Like there was something in my brain that said, save that for later. And that conversation was weeks, months ago, right? So I quickly messaged this woman from the council, and I'm like, who, what, where, when, how? Tell me everything, okay? And she quickly says, get in touch with this person, they'll help you out. So I email this person that Thursday night. I get an email back the next day, the Friday morning, and they basically say like, yeah, we've got this studio space. You're more than welcome to come pop by and have a little look some point in the next week. And I'm again like, in the next week? What about now, right now, right this second. So I was like, I'm going to take a chance. I'm going to take a punt. I'm going to ring this person right now and see what happens. And yeah, the lovely woman was like, yeah, absolutely, I can be there in half an hour. I was like, sweet, perfect, me too. So within less than 24 hours of receiving the confirmation that I was going to be kicked out of this space, with a real lack of sympathy and a real lack of regard, I could have been so angry. I could have been, I mean, I was, absolutely. But within 24 hours, I'm already making moves. And I had this meeting, I had this viewing, and let me tell you, I got such a good feeling. So I'm like, have I just solved this in less than 24 hours? I think I might have. Which is wild to me. So whilst I've been flustered and panicking and freaking out, rightly so, at the same time, how silly of me to forget my ability to figure things out. How silly of me to forget that I always find a way through. How silly of me to forget that serendipity will always come through for me. My resilience will always come through for me. And I've told this story a couple of times. I've spent time with family over this weekend, which was goddamn so needed. It was my dad's birthday anyway, so we were always going to be seeing family, but I feel like I really needed it this weekend. And any time I've told this story, that word serendipity just comes back time and time again. It's practically been burning on my arm. So we're in the middle of this plot twist, right? We're figuring it out, maybe even a lot faster than I anticipated, but it's coming together. And I feel a whole lot more positive about the situation. I'm still angry, sure, but I have this real knowing that this was meant to be. You know, I always thought that this venue was never going to be my forever place, and perhaps it was time to make a change. And I spoke a lot last week about making change, making the moves and making decisions, and how I often get stuck in decisions and I get real bad decision fatigue and decision paralysis. It's like the universe was like, okay, you're not going to make a decision, we're going to make one for you. And in a way, thanks, I guess. I think the situation has somewhat, again, reminded me of my ability to turn things around in record timing before anyone really knew what was happening. And yeah, I think I've done it. I've not confirmed with this new venue yet. I'm kind of letting things land, letting things settle in, because almost part of it does feel like too good to be true at the same time, right? Almost feels like something's still amiss. I'm so like distrusting of things at the moment, because like, oh, I've been kicked out of one space, maybe this place is also going to fall through. And there's been other little bits of news that I've heard recently of things, of plans falling through. So part of me is just keeping somewhat guarded and maybe protecting myself a little bit. But also I wanted to give the community a chance to have a say. And I'm still so worried about the community in itself, and whether a change in venue will like cause me to lose people and won't serve the community in its entirety. So that is still a genuine concern. But I had a gorgeous person reach out to me when they started hearing the news, and they said this phrase, which I'm going to hold on to over the next couple weeks. And the phrase is, the walls might change, but the community won't. And honestly, that phrase, it got me so choked. It got me so choked. And I listened to this voice note. I was just like, okay, cool. Maybe it's a case of placing trust in myself to make the big scary changes, to make the big moves, and to trust in that process, but also to trust in the community that they will follow through too. And I sent out a big email this morning explaining what had happened. And my main reason for doing that was to be like, someone's going to know someone who knows someone who knows someone. How can the community come together and offer any ideas, any suggestions? I was open. I am open to anything, you know? You never know. And I think that was the case of like, rather than trying to figure this all out on my own, I have this community there now. I'm not starting from scratch. It isn't a completely new beginning. It's just a refresh. It's a rebirth. It's a revival, if you will. And that's exciting. So whilst, yes, I have been shitting myself slightly and thinking, holy fucking shitballs, what am I going to do? It's exciting. It's potentially the shakeup that I didn't know that I needed, but it's happening anyway. So trusting the process, trusting myself, trusting the community, and it's all going to come together exactly as it's meant to. Isn't that something I say pretty much every yoga session, pretty much every podcast episode? Listen to your own words, Lauren. Trust that process. So things are going to continue unfolding, and I think the ball is rolling. I don't know what direction the ball is rolling towards, but we're heading somewhere. We're in the middle of this plot twist. And like I said last week, we're not going to race towards the end, towards the after, towards the end result once everything has died down. I'm actually going to enjoy this shakeup, right? Fuck it. If the venue has to change, maybe other things have to change, right? Let's do it all at once, maybe. What else can I implement over these final few weeks at this particular venue before moving to the next, and even in these first few weeks at this new venue? What can we do? You know? So again, I'm going to be reaching out to the community. This is your time to, I guess, get those requests in. If there's something you want to see, be it in person, online, an event, a timetable, switch it up, anything at all, now is the time to really have your say, because I'm all ears. I'm listening, I'm open, because I've been somewhat forced to be. I've been cracked wide open because let's just see. Let's just see what happens when we take a chance and make a change. So I have no real other wisdom other than that to share in this episode, honeys. I guess that was a quick update in terms of what's going on, what's happening. It's all happening. That is what's going on. It's all happening. And I'm keeping cool, keeping grounded, keeping positive, and who doesn't fucking love a revival, right? Who doesn't love a rebirth, a transformation? So let's go, honeys. Maybe you're having your own revival, maybe you're making your own changes here and there. Trust that process, trust in yourself, trust in the people around you. We got this. I'm going to wrap this one up there because I need to literally go teach a one-to-one and a group class this evening. And yeah, it's all going to be okay. It's all going to be fine. Don't forget your ability to figure things out. You will always figure things out because really you have no other choice. All right. I love you, honeys. Go fucking thrive. And you got this. Whatever it is, you got it. All right. I love you. Mwah. Alright, stunners, thank you so much for listening to another episode of the Butterfly Effect podcast. I hope it has left you feeling suitably inspired. And as always, please don't forget to rate and review, like and subscribe, all those lovely things, as not only does this help the podcast grow, but it also helps us to reach more beautiful souls who need to hear these conversations. And of course, come hang out with me over on Instagram and TikTok at LaurenAmyYD, and follow the pod at butterflyeffect.pod. You can also dive deeper into yoga, meditations, poetry, and so much more with me over on Patreon. Until next time, keep living a soft life loudly because you know you deserve it, and I'll see you in the next episode. Mwah!